Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we are going to be checking out the DJI Phantom 4. I did previously make another video on this, and it was an unboxing video. Couldn't really fit it on the bench here, so I made a separate video for that. If you missed that video, go ahead and check that link that's going to pop up here on a card, and then I'll also have that link down in the description, as well as where you can get this Phantom 4 from at a good price. Anyway, today's going to be all about doing a close-up inspection of the Phantom 4, and also going through all the stuff it comes with, kind of unbagging everything here, doing a setup, and also going ahead and let me just swing over to the right here real quick. I bought some extra peripherals here. You can see them over there on the right, and these peripherals are basically going to be HDMI out, range extender, extra battery, sunshade, and some cables to hook up to an HDMI goggles. So I'm going to go ahead and inspect this and then connect all this stuff up and show you how it all works. Go ahead and get it connected to a cell phone and or a tablet. This is these are both Android devices. Here's an Android tablet, Samsung tablet. So we're going to go ahead and go through everything in this video, and so you can kind of get a view of it, how it looks up really close up in high definition, and how to get all this stuff up and connected. And in the next video, we're going to go ahead and do our park flight. I'm kind of just doing this methodically. I want to make sure I go through this guy since it's such a cool quadcopter. I want to make sure I go through it step by step and don't miss anything. So, and then videos to come will be, you know, range tests with the long range extenders on and a bunch of other videos and stuff, so don't miss those that are coming out in the near future. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a close-up look at this guy. First of all, I'm just going to unpackage a couple of things that I did not pull out of the bag when I was doing the living room unbox. So here we go. This is just the plug, and this is going to be the power brick here. Just go ahead and take this out, and this is going to be what you're going to be charging the quad battery and also your controller battery as well. Okay, so this plug is going to go into your wall, and then the other side, of course, is going to go into the charger like this. And then we have our battery charge port. Let's just go ahead and see how that plugs into the extra battery I got here. So, and it's just going to plug in like that, and then you're going to charge that on your wall. And as far as the controller charger plug, grab your controller here, and let me go ahead and take off this wrapping from the controller first, and then we'll be able to plug it in. So antenna's got wrappings. The whole thing is kind of wrapped in plastic here with some tape on both sides. Actually 3 sides on the bottom as well, and then it just kind of lifts up and over the entire thing like that. Okay, and it's also looks like it's wrapped underneath this bracket, so I'm just going to kind of rip this out. So bear with me here for a second. I'm just going to kind of rip this out through the bracket. Probably should be cutting this, but I don't know, we'll just rip it. Okay. So that stuff's off there, and there's our controller in all of its beautiful glory. Looks like there's no other scratch-proof tape aside from this tape on the bracket here. So I'm going to peel this tape off of the bracket, just like so. Looks like they did a good job at making sure nothing gets scratched from shipping. So really pretty there. Okay, so anyway, what we were doing was we were going to plug in that power cord right here. So it looks like this has just a little bit of a silicone door here you pop open, and then we're just plugging in to charge our battery in our controller. So what I'm going to be doing for my first flight is making sure everything is fully charged, of course. And you know, everybody should be doing that before they fly. Make sure you have full charges on all your equipment. Okay, so those are those cables. There were a couple of other cables that came in the box. They were these micro USB cables. So I'm just going to unpackage these real quick in front of the camera, just so you can see exactly what they are here. Okay, there's 2 micro USB cables for connectivity. And if we spin this Phantom 4 over here, we can see that on the side here we do have a place where we can connect up, and so we can connect it to the flight controller and to our computer. So you just plug in the micro USB right in there. Should be able to control a lot of stuff from the DJI Go app and or Litchi app, which I'll be running both, testing both eventually. So stay tuned for the flight test to get those all tested. But as far as changing some settings, you should be able to change a lot of settings within the actual cell phone application. And then of course we've got the bag here. I know I already kind of did the unboxing on this and brought the bag out and stuff, but I just wanted to bring out these propellers close up, at least one of the propellers, and just show you what it looks like. Very glossy. Everything on the Phantom 4 is super glossy, and I would imagine that's to attribute for less wind resistance, more aerodynamic flight, long battery life, flight times, longer flight times. And these have just this little plastic tamper-proof little coating on them that you can just rip off. There we go. So you got to take this plastic off of each one. And the way these guys are connecting up is you make sure that you have the black ring on the propeller to match the black dots on the receiving end. So for example, you can see the black dots on this one here, but there are no black dots on this one here. So that's going to mean that you need the propeller with a black ring. Here's the other one that's kind of a silver ring here. So this would definitely need to be going on this one here. And all you're doing is you're just finding it where it pushes down and then sliding to lock. And you're kind of pushing it down while you're locking it, and then it's popping up and it's keeping it from twisting or anything. So the only way you can take it off is to push down and then that way and take it off. So really ingenious system, pretty awesome and quick. And this is DJI's new type of attaching the propeller, so really happy with that. And I think the reason they did that was to mitigate, since the propellers are more variable speed now for more efficiency, I think that was to mitigate them from accidentally possibly spinning off when the motor is slowing down or speeding up. So either way it spins this way while it's locked, it will not be able to loosen unless it's pushed down first. Okay, so really quick, the instruction manual. I'm not going to go through all of this on camera here. I will be going through this behind the scenes and making sure I have everything hooked up right. But the one on top here, it's just kind of a pamphlet which goes through all the controller settings, how to deal with your gimbal, how to connect your tablet or phone, how to do the propellers, and what all the functions do. And of course, this is the Spanish version I'm looking at. There we go. So here's the English version of that same thing. So you get a few different languages of manuals in there. Then we got this DJI Care card. It's just going through some applications that DJI Care provides. We got this little card here also. Know before you fly, flying safely. Gonna want to overlook that real quick. And we've got a little in the box card in different languages, 3 different languages. Safety guidelines on the battery, a little manual there, and last thing in the box is the disclaimer and safety guidelines for the actual quad. So definitely, this is a good investment, so you want to go through all this stuff and make sure you do know how to use this and what all the safety precautions are and stuff before you fly. So definitely go over that. Okay, so bringing up the quad a little bit closer up here to the camera, and I'm going to take off this this tape here. These are just basically little notifiers telling you how to match the color of the ring on the propeller to the dots on here and how to do it. So every little bit counts when you're flying as far as aerodynamics, and this will give you a little bit of drag, so I definitely recommend taking this stuff off. Okay, so that's pretty much it as far as stickers and protective coating. There's not really anything except for this one that's left on here on the top, so I'm going to also take this off. It's just a little protective piece of plastic protecting that silver DJI insignia sign there. But everything else, there's no other plastic on here, so you shouldn't have to take anything else. Well, let's go ahead and check out these motors real quick. So this is interesting. So if we look at this thing straight on, so you can see how the motor is kind of slanted. If I'm holding it pretty much level here, this arm is now level. You can see the motor's tilting that way a little bit. And that must have something to do with the stability and just the way the whole thing is working here. So all the motors are slightly tweaked in one direction. They don't actually look straight up and down from the frame. You can see this one is very prevalent here. You can see how I'm holding this level here, and then you can see how off the motor is sticking that way a little bit. So that just has to do with the efficiency, flight characteristics, stability, and how they kind of just engineered the whole thing. So a close-up look on these ports here on the bottom. You can see here that this is the USB port, micro USB, where we're going to plug in that USB cable I showed you to hook up to our computer. And then this is where we're going to plug in our memory card for recording the video. And really nicely done. I mean, you know, this is the whole smart module down here that has the vision sensors and the sonar sensors here to sense the ground. And then just a closer look at the arms here, the bottom of the arms. Really nicely done. This really fine mesh here for ventilation, and then very interesting, kind of a new type of design on the lights compared to the other previous Phantom versions of the Phantom line. You can see that's mainly this big light on the bottom, but it does actually shine through to this side light here. So you're getting some side viewing of the light, as well as it also protrudes to the top. So if it's beneath you, you can also see the light. So really good design. It looks like how they engineered that. Spinning it around to the front, we can see that we've got the vision sensors in the front here for obstacle avoidance. Here we have the gimbal guard here. This is all mounted up. Really nice looking 3D gimbal. You can see the motor on top, on the back, and on the side here. 1, 2, 3 dimensions of stabilization. And it looks like this one has either maybe just a brace to stabilize that pitch just a little bit more. So that's interesting. So you've got on both sides. Usually gimbals just have one and then the other side's just hanging off. So that's pretty cool how they incorporated on both sides here. And I am seeing this little piece of protective coating here. I'm just going to go ahead and take this off of the bottom. It's just this little protective film there. I'm not sure really what that's protecting, but apparently they thought they needed to protect something when shipping. Now let's go ahead and take off this little gimbal guard here and see what it's all about. So I'm just unclipping the bottom here, and there we go. So there's our camera. Really nice and light thing with kind of a grayish white tone to it to match the whole bottom of the craft. And this is supposed to be that 4K camera, so this can do all the way up to 4K, you know, all the resolutions we know and love, as well as the 4K. So this will be very interesting to see how this thing works. So just kind of inspecting it kind of close up. There's our 3 axes. It looks like it's only maxing out at that much of a yaw. It's going to stop at those points there. And then we have our pitch and roll. So the pitch will go all the way up. That's the maximum amount there till it's hitting something. And then the pitch downwards is going all the way, and it's actually hitting that cable in the back a little bit. So I'm sure when it's going to be powered up, it's probably going to just be horizontal and then max out as, you know, a 90 degree. And then here's the roll. So the rolling stabilization there, we're going about that far until we're hitting the maximum stop point, so we can kind of hear that clicking and hitting there. But anyway, that's the gimbal. Coming down here to the back of the gimbal, there's just 4 little screws here. But really well done looking little gimbal here for minimal weight but optimal functionality. So very impressed. Okay, so really the only other thing to look at is inside the battery bay. So let's go ahead and pop this guy open. So we just push in these tabs on the top and the bottom of the battery, and we just pull them out like this. So a nice clean battery bay. Let me just pull this light around here and we can see inside here. So very clean. We can see some exposed circuit board on the side there. In the front, all we're seeing is the battery plug in there, bottoms and top are pretty well just protected with plastic material. On the right, we're seeing another circuit board as well. So real nice and clean battery bay. And then just taking a look at the battery itself, since we have this bad boy out real quick, let's just see how this looks. So ensure ventilation holes are free from obstructions. So it looks like this is the way the battery vents itself. Really neat looking battery here. And now this is the very efficient high performance battery. 5350 milliamp, 15.2 volt battery here. So this is like a 4S 5350 milliamp battery. There's our connector in the front, and same thing on the other side. We got this venting. And the only con on these kinds of batteries is they are proprietary. The whole craft is proprietary, so you're not going to ever be able to buy a cheaper battery or connect up any other type of battery except the Phantom 4 battery. And that is a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing in that they design their own battery to be as efficient as possible for their own craft, but on the other end of that, it's expensive. It's like $150 or up for another battery for this thing. So putting the battery back in, make sure you have it flipped so the the larger part here is on the top. I actually just tried to push it in backwards, so careful of that. So you just push it in and push these things down, and it should clip in nice and tight there. Okay, so anyhow, landing gear is really the last thing to look at. And landing gear is landing gear. Not a whole lot of tech that goes into landing gear, but it looks like this is also, the sensor actually comes down and is part of the landing gear here. And then the bottom is this really grippy rubber material, kind of inset to the landing gear, so you're going to get a good grip there. I'm not sure if that's entirely a good thing, but I think this thing has pretty good landing capability, so it shouldn't have any tip overs. But that's basically it. Let's go ahead and put this gimbal guard back on here. Let's see how easy this is to put back on. You should just be able to kind of slip it over like so. And at the same time, go ahead and push these little feet in, and it just locks in the whole camera. Nice and easy. That's what these little notches are for. I was wondering what those are for. So we can see that these guys have little notches on the rubber. There's a notch there, and then there's a notch on the top of each leg. And you just want to make sure the gimbal guard goes right in between those so you're not tweaking the camera. So everything locks in nice and tight. Okay, so let's put the Phantom 4 over to the side here, and let's go ahead and take a look at the controller. Cool, an integral part of the whole system here. So here is the controller. Here's the tablet mount here. You cannot twist it, kind of like you can with the 3DR Solo. And then here are the little cell phone brackets that pop down. So for example, here's a little button on the side that you push up, and then the whole thing actually pushes up like that. Really neat. It's really like a pneumatic feeling. You can see that, really smooth, and then it has this clicking as I'm pulling it down. And then for cell phones, go ahead and push that, bring it up a little bit, snug your cell phone in, and boom, that thing's locked in there nice and tight. But you have to push that button again and take your phone out before you can push these down. Now let's go ahead and try to mount up a tablet. So this is Samsung Galaxy Tab A tablet that I'm going to be using, and go ahead and just put it in just like that, and you can see how easy that was to just slide in, push this thing down, it locks, and you just have to push that button again on the side to take it out. You can see that we have this aluminum bracket holding the phone tablet mount here. Really nicely well done aluminum bracket that has these thumb screws here, and it looks like it has this little lock mechanism on the bottom here, so you put a screwdriver in there, go ahead and do an unscrew on this guy, and that will loosen this up and unlock it from that base. And then you can go ahead and use your thumb to unscrew this here if you wanted to, and that whole thing can remove just like that. So pretty interesting. That thing looks like it's well locked in there. Anyway, as far as pushing this thing around, that's the maximum upward position we can push this at until it can't go anymore, and then you can go all the way down to where it's just hitting the controller. So for storage, and then for flight you have this up like this. And here's the sticks. So the sticks are all spring loaded. They're all bringing the sticks all the way back up. You know, of course we got our altitude, our dropping, descending, we have our yaw left and right, and then we have our forward, pitch back, and our roll left and right, just like any controller. These guys have a designated return to home button now. Click in button here, and so you can really easy get in a panic or whatever, you just press that and you can return to home. And our power off and on. I just pressed the power on. We can see that we have 3 lights there. So it's not going to be fully charged, so we're going to want to charge that up. And then on the other side here, I'm seeing this really nice rubber material. This is like the rubber material that was on the bottom of the landing gear of the Phantom 4. There's real grippy rubber material. And on the back we have this two-tone stuff too. Let's start off with the antennas on the top here. So the antennas, they can rotate that far before they stop. They can go that far, and then they can go all the way in to that far the other way, and they can go all the way up. So that's the articulation these guys have. So there's a trigger button here. This is probably going to be a combination of, like, I'll have to definitely, we'll go over all this in a flight test when we do our flight test, but that's a click in button there. That's a click in button here with a pause icon on it. And this is a roller, and this also clicks in. And then looking at the other side, it's got this nice DJI silver insignia there on the top. And this is saying a smart mode switch, refer to user guide before first use. And it looks like this is going to be your recording for video. So you're going to click that in to record video. And there's another roller here. This one maxes out at a certain point and won't go any further and does not click in. This one here just kind of rolls and keeps rolling. It's got a little bit of resistant clicks while it's rolling, and this one does click in. Working our way down here, we got C1 and C2 buttons. There we go. So they're like little triggers under your fingers while you're flying. You have access to those little buttons that click in. Nice carrying bar, little handle here, really sturdy aluminum or steel handle here. And then here we have that little module. And this is what I'm going to be taking off and putting on my HDMI module here. I think I accidentally referred to this as a Wi-Fi extender HDMI output in my last video. So sorry about that. All it is an HDMI output. And let's go ahead and take this out of the package real quick and look at what that's going to be all about. Okay, so what this thing is it's just a module that will go in place of this guy, and it's got the same type of USB port, the same type of micro USB port, but extra it has this little plug-in here, and also has an HDMI out here to go to like your goggles or a high definition screen for FPV. And that's the reason I got this, is because I'm going to be linking this into my headplay goggles, which will be really awesome. So anyway, I'm not going to put this on in this video, but really self-explanatory. You just unscrew these 4 screws. They do also give you a little bag here of the same type of screws in case you need extra screws. I'm not sure why. But I'm going to be sure to update the firmware in this after I install this module. I read somewhere that you need to do that. So while we're kind of talking about the controller, let's go ahead and talk about these little parabolic deflector dishes. And these basically come like this in a package. They did have this film that I went ahead and already peeled off. But these are the copper ones. These have this copper tape. And these are supposed to give you the best signal deflection of any of these types of antennas. And they come with this little cloth to wipe off the copper. Copper will get corroded after a while. So they give you this cloth to just keep them nice and shiny. The more shiny they are, the more reflective they are, and the better they'll work. So I'm going to make sure I keep those shiny. But the way these work is they just slide right on, really nice and easy. Actually, the other way. So you're going to slide these on facing out from the controller, and that should give us much better range. Now, this thing already has like over 3 miles of range, supposedly. You know, and I expect you'd get that range in maybe a non-interference area, like in the country or something. But you know, these were not much money, a few bucks, and I just wanted to get them just in case for some better range. You know, cheap cost for extra range there. And you don't have to necessarily put these on. They're not a permanent thing. You just slide them off if you don't want to have them on there. So I'm going to be using those in some of my long range flights. And the last thing about the controller here is the sun hood. So I got this thing extra, and the way this goes is it's just a sun hood that goes over the clamp, and it's got this Velcro here on both sides. So the way you do this is you just open it up high enough and then slide the top portion over, and then put your tablet in. So this tablet's actually a little bit large, long ways for this, but anyway, just slide that in and then go ahead and push everything down with the sunshade on, and just make sure you get your tablet in there while it's pushing down. And there we go. Just a really simple and easy sunshade there. You can see how it looks from a different angle here. So that should give you some better viewing of your FPV while you're doing your FPV on your tablet. You'd have to have a smaller one. If you do have a phone, you have to buy a smaller one of these, and that will be a good sunshade for your phone. Okay, so let's go ahead and fire everything up and see how it looks on the screen after we connect. Just wanted to show you the tablet here. This is how high of a tablet you can put in. I'm just going to measure that real quick. So from the inside top edge to the inside bottom edge is 6.5 inches. So if you're wondering what size of tablet you can fit in there, 6.5 inches until the two pads on the top and bottom, if anybody wanted to know. But anyway, download the DJI Go app from the Android store or the Apple store. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to boot this guy up. Basically, you're just connecting this cable that comes in the box. I'm just connecting this USB to the full-size USB port, and then I'm connecting the other side, mini USB, micro USB actually, to the bottom of this Samsung tablet. And the cable is just hanging here. Then we're going ahead and turning on the controller by just clicking once and then clicking and holding. And we're seeing that we have this pop-up on the screen. Do you want to auto launch DJI Go when this accessory is connected? I'm going to say yes. And before I do that, let me just go ahead and boot up the Phantom. So clicking once and then clicking and holding until all the lights go up. And pressing OK on the DJI Go app. And I did previously sign in to my DJI Go account. So you're going to want to make sure you have a DJI Go account before you do this. So it looks like, here we go. So it says activate Phantom 4. So it detects the Phantom 4 obviously. And you're going to go ahead and go continue. Name of the aircraft, I'm just going to call it P4. Next. Control mode, this is where you can pick your mode. So mode 2, that's with the left hand throttle and rudder left and right. So yes, I want that. Let's see, so C1 and C2 mode. So basically camera forward down or camera and the camera settings. So I'm just going to kind of leave everything stock. C1 is on the left. When you click that, it's just bringing your camera forward really quick or down really quick. When you click that, and then the right side triggered on the bottom there, C2, is going to bring you into your camera settings. So we'll just leave that all stock. Units of measurement, I want imperial for US measurement, and I want NTSC for video output. Beginner mode, flight restriction mode. I'm going to take that off because I don't want it only to go 98 feet high or 30 meters away from you. But apparently if you leave that on and you're a beginner flyer, there's your geo fence. So you won't be able to fly more than 100 feet high, about 98 feet high and 98 feet away from you. So good for beginners. Leave that on if you want. Confirm and activate your account. Activate. So it's saying activating, and I am connected to the Wi-Fi in my house, so make sure you're connected to your home Wi-Fi when you do this. And here we go. So right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and update firmware. Actually, I'm not going to do the update firmware. Never mind. We're going to skip that for now. It does say it's giving me an indication here on the top. New firmware available is available. New firmware available. Please update. So looks like the 0.0411 is available. So I'll be updating that after this. But for now, let's just go into the quad. So going ahead and clicking on camera. And there we go. So it's forcing me, it's going into the screen and it's forcing me to calibrate. I don't think I can calibrate it here. There's too much interference in the house here to do a thorough calibration. So anyway, while we're at it, even though we cannot calibrate the compass, let's go ahead and just see how the camera looks real quick. Let's go ahead and get the camera in view so you can kind of see that. And that was kind of the 3D axis there. You see how I'm moving the craft, and it's dampening that yaw there. And there's the camera there. It looks pretty cool. Here's the latency really quick. You can see the latency. It's pretty high latency, so you're not going to want to be doing any close proximity flying with this. You can see how it's like a half a second off. So I wouldn't recommend this one for any kind of close proximity flying, or you will crash. So just some nice slow and easy flying. This one's mainly built for if you're going to be using FPV and taking some camera shots. If you are going to do some aggressive flying, keep that in mind, that you've got that pretty high latency if you're using the FPV. So anyway guys, let's go ahead and take this out to the park in the next video. I can't really go through all the settings in here because I need to calibrate the compass, but as we can see, there's our map here on the bottom. You can basically click that if you wanted to. Apparently it does, there is enough GPS to kind of know our location here apparently. Anyway guys, I hope you liked that inspection and setup of the DJI Phantom 4. Let's go ahead and get out there, get in the park in the next video. This one's supposed to be an amazing craft, so I'm going to put it through an unbiased flight test and see how it does. So don't forget, I'll have this guy down in the description of the video, and I'll have a link down there of where you can get a good deal on this guy, so make sure you check that out. I'll also have the next video, when that's ready, I'll have that pop up there. It'll be up on a card up top, and it'll also be in the video of the description. Anyway guys, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.